G'day and welcome. We're going to talk about pruning fruit trees today. In particular peaches, you're going to need a few things. First of all, some sterilised secateurs and tree loppers. Depending upon how big your tree is, you may well also need a sterilised pruning saw. In this instance, we don't need to worry about that, so let's move on and we'll talk a little bit about the structure of trees. Quite often, particularly back from sort of the 70s and 80s, throughout even till today, that most fruit trees have been pruned, to hold that glass shape. Excuse the chooks, by the way. That glass, wine glass shape, so that it gets lots of air and sunlight into the centre. In this case, we're looking at a modified basic central leader. Not so much on this particular one, but the one behind you, John. If you just pan round and have a look, you can see that's also a peach. That's a modified central leader. Now if you come back here, I'll show you what sort of timber produces what on the tree. You'll find that all of these single buds here, they're going to produce either leaves or new shoots. So for instance, if I was to cut just above this bud, you would find that would produce new growth. Whereas all of these triple buds you'll find are flowering buds. Now what happens is that you'll find that that'll be a flower one side and a flower the other side, and in the centre that middle bud may either be a leaf or new growth. So ultimately we're looking to try and produce 1 year old wood, which is what you get your fruit from. So having said that, what we need to be doing is to be encouraging timber that is going to put up next year's growth and provide us with some fruit this year. So having said that, you look in here, we've got quite a lot of timber that probably needs to be taken out from inside the centre. Going to be pretty well non-productive, difficult to get to. You really want to encourage a little bit of air in something like this, so that so let's start. We'll take off a lot of this thinner stuff that's just not going to carry fruit or do anything much of in terms of growth. Anything that's a little dead, take out. We'll leave this one. That may provide us a little bit more growth later on in terms of getting some more structure into this, so that I can get that modified central leader. The other thing too is if you cut your trees back, particularly peaches, a little too hard, what's going to happen is that they're going to put a great deal of growth on. Now, to be honest, you want to try and keep your trees as small as you possibly can, because they're easier to net. And let me tell you, no nets equals no fruit. You allow the birds to get to them, and what happens with a lot of people is that they don't prune often enough or don't prune well, and they're unable to get nets over the top of them. The fruit tree gets away, and of course then all of a sudden you're feeding birds and not yourselves. So we wouldn't try and discourage that and teach you how to prune properly. So again, we're going to try and prune back to stuff that's going to produce fruit. Okay, and this pencil thickness timber is ideally what we would use to graft. Now we're in July currently, and that's the perfect size timber we should be looking for if you're looking to graft some of your stock. So now again, I'm going to take out some of this stuff that's down lower, particularly about 600 mil or 60 centimetres from the ground up. You really want to discourage that sort of timber, because it harbours nooks and crannies for fungus to sit in, and of course peaches and nectarines are susceptible to curly leaf, so you really want to make sure that you can knock that sort of timber out the way so that you don't harbour that sort of stuff. Again, all this soft sort of small unproductive wood take out. Again, stuff that's pointing to the inside take out, just to encourage some nice air growth inside. Some of this thinner stuff that's not going to be able to hold fruit or produce fruit this year is really pointless. You're better off to take that out, so that that encourages to put growth into stuff that's going to be productive. Leave all of that. Take that out. Out. But to be honest, this really only needs a bit of a tidy up, this tree. It's got nice structure, it's reasonably open, it's producing triple buds, so that we'll get some fruit off it this year. probably doesn't really need a great deal of work. Having said that though, this stuff, because it's in close proximity to the fence, what I'll do is I'll knock that back so that produces fruit this year and no growth. So, same deal down here. That's probably too thin to produce anything. Same with this, we'll take that out. And sometimes you'll knock a branch back a little and decide, well, maybe I can do with taking that one right out altogether. Doesn't hurt to knock out what you think initially, and then you can sort of see how it's going to start and shape and form what you're looking for. I suppose the most important thing really is to get some decent shape to it, something that's not going to get away on you too quickly. Again, when you're cutting these, by the way, don't cut them too close to the buds. So here's an example. If I cut that here, there's a good chance that the dieback will often go all the way back to this next bud. Okay, give the thing a bit of room to heal at the top, and if it does get some dieback, it's not going to harm that set of buds that you've just pruned to. So, well, I think that's probably enough to get you started. I hope that in due course we'll post some more on other fruit trees. So that's it for peaches.